Hi there, Sean Darling here again for step 3 now in making our stupidly simple character. Today we're going to be doing what is called target bones, and we may actually be including creating some hands and feet for this guy, so check it out.
We're gonna learn animation in Moho and animate everything in Moho. It's easier than using any yo-yo, yeah. Now it's time to learn to use Moho.
Alright, so when I last left off, we had created our blinks and our mouth happy and sad. And we, of course, have all of our movement here, but there is one issue. When we go to move our legs, we can move our legs around, do whatever we want to do with those. If we move the body up and down, though, we're just moving the whole thing. And this isn't really how we want this to kind of go. When we move this character, of course, you know, we can select the layer and move the layer around, but when we move this joint right here, we want his feet to stay stationary and locked to the ground. And there's no real way to do that. I mean, you can hand animate this, like draw a line, and I can kind of give you an idea. Well, you just draw a line here on the ground, and we can then move each individual part, animating and making sure, you know, he's still touching that line. But if I were to move this here, and let's say we want him to step forward, when I move this forward, we have to then figure out, okay, where did this come from before? And it's very difficult to kind of sort out what needs to be done to keep that spacing and timing and everything. Using target bones, Bo gives you an advantage because they will lock into place until you want to move them. That way, when we move the body, the feet stay stationary, and then when we move the foot, everything else stays stationary. And it's a really easy process to do. So what we're going to do to this guy now is give him some feet. So we're going to start off with drawing those feet. I'm going to come down here to right above the legs here. We can do both there for now if you want. And I'm just going to create a new vector layer. We're going to call this foot right. And we're going to create a simple foot for this guy. And I think for now, we'll just make this a square. So we'll just grab the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to put this somewhere here. We can then go to the layer and move it around until, you know, this point of this bone, wherever it is, kind of lines up where you want that foot to bend. So something like that is fine. We want to go ahead and get our set origin and click it right here about where that foot is. So this is going to rotate on that particular, from that particular point, you can see. Otherwise, it'll rotate from somewhere else. That won't make any sense. Okay, click on 0 to reset everything. We can also rotate that layer back to the point we like it to be at. And like I said, this is just a very simple representation of a foot. This will change eventually into whatever artwork we want to use. I'm going to go ahead now and make another duplicate of this foot right. We're going to right click it and click on duplicate layer. We're going to immediately change this to foot left. We could just write the L. We can just make the R in this one. This is the better way of labeling those. And foot left now is right here where the other foot was. But what we're going to do is we're going to flip it horizontally, and then we're going to move it over here to where we want it to be when it moves. Now back up at the bone layer, we're going to create the foot bones for this character. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to select the bone of the right shin, or the right leg there, the right shin. And I'm going to click on add bone to where this will be parented when we create it to the shin bone here. And if for some reason it's you get this out of order and it's not parented to it, the way you can tell is come over here to your reparent bone. And when you click on it, you can see the arrow, and it will indicate what this bone is parented to. Right now it is parented to the shin bone. If for some reason you had done this wrong, We delete that bone, and let's say nothing is selected, and you create a new bone and you put it from here to here. When you look at the reparent bone, there will be no arrows. There are arrows to all the other bones and where they parent to, but there is not one coming from here. All you have to do is go to the reparent bone tool and then click on the bone you want this bone parented to, like this one here, and that will be fine. And then once you move this around, it will move correctly. We need to remove the strength of this bone first. So we come over here to the bone strength tool and just drag it, click and drag it to the left. And now when you manipulate it, it will move correctly. It hasn't been parented to the square yet, but that is just for the bone. Let's go ahead and make the bone of the other foot as well. So I'm just going to click on the select bone tool and then click on the shin bone of the left leg. And we're going to click on add bone. We're going to go from the ankle here on out. And we check by clicking on reparent bone, and you can see that those are correct. So back on the select bone tool, you can click away, everything is fine. But now we want to parent our squares, our feet, to our feet bones. So whether we're going to do that simply is to come down to the foot layers. We're going to go foot L right here, but we need to click the bone that this is going to be associated with. So we need to click on the select bone tool. We need to select the foot bone we're going to use. And then we come over here to the bind points. And remember, nothing's bound yet. This just gives us the ability to select the points. So we're going to select all the points of the foot, and we're going to come up here to bind points. Now these points are bound to this foot, and they're all the same color. So now we're going to go to the right foot layer, and we're going to come over here and select the select bone tool. We're going to come over here and select the foot bone. We're going to select bind points, and we're going to select all of the points of that foot, for that layer, I mean. And we're going to click on bind points, and then now they will all be red as the foot bone is red as well. When we come over here to select the manipulate bones tool, make sure we go back to the bone layer, go to the bone strength, and just make sure all of your bone strength is off of both of these bones. We go to the manipulate bones tool, and now when you move these, they will move correctly with the leg. And I hope that makes sense. If the feet feel a little small, we can always enlarge those, which I think I'm going to do. So I'm just going to come in here to my layers. We're going to start with the left foot here, and I'm just going to drag some of the points around. So I'm going to click on the background, and I'm just going to drag, I'm going to grab my points and just sort of make them a little longer, a little farther out. You can make these any shape you want, but I'm going to keep this very rectangular for now. You can also select as a group if we wanted to. So if we deselect everything by clicking on the background, using the lasso mode, I selected those two. And now we can click on the move tool, and you can move these together and do the same thing. So now we have a little more appropriately proportioned feet. And now what I want to do is create what are called target bones. This is the point of the video. We want to be able to move him around without his feet moving. We're going to lock those feet down to where he's got a lot more realistic movement. So this is the way we do that. Let's go back to our bone layer. We're going to come over here to our select bone tool. We're going to click on the background to where nothing is selected. And before we do anything else, let's go ahead and name those foot bones. We have shin left, we have shin right, but we need this one here to be foot right and foot left. And now we can create our target bones. So what I want to do is with the select bone tool, click on the background so no other bones are selected. And we're going to draw a new bone here with the add bone tool right here at this ankle where the bones meet. And we're going to rename this one target right. And then we're going to come in to the bone strength tool and make sure all that strength is removed. Click on the select bone tool and click on the background. We're going to click now on the add bone tool again. We're going to make one for the left foot here, exactly the same. And we're going to call this one target left. Now we need to go to the bone strength tool and make sure all the strength is removed from that bone. Click on your select bone tool and select the right shin. We're now going to go up into bone constraints, and we're going to come down here to target, and we're going to click on this drop down, and we're going to go to target R. And when we do, close, you can see this little target has appeared right here that's attached to this target bone. We'll get to this in a minute. Now I want you to select the other shin bone, because this is the one that this target bone is going to be targeting. And with the shin left clicked, we're going to go ahead and select here in bone constraints and go to target and drop that down and select target L and close. So now we have our two target bones that are targeting the shin bones. Here's the coolest thing in the world. We click on our manipulate bones tool and we grab our root bone here and we move it down. Now those feet are mostly locked in place and act a lot more realistic when you move the character up and down. And you can't grab this bone and move it around anymore, or this bone, but you can grab the target bone and move it around. And after we place it, we can now move the whole character around, leaving the feet mostly in place. Now you can pull away and get them to sort of stretch away from where the targets are, but they're always going to be aligned with those targets. They're always going to try and stay. You could do stuff like I just did with making the character walk upstairs. Maybe he goes, from there to here, and then maybe we take this target bone and make him walk up the next step, and so on. So you kind of see how useful this can be. Now, one of the problems is these feet get really wonky because as I move this, the feet are pointing downward. And if we make him go up and down, you can see the feet turn. We don't really want that. So what we want to do is go back to our select bone tool, select the foot bone, go to bone constraints and click on independent angle. We say close. We go to the other foot bone, go to bone constraints, independent angle, close. And now when we move the root bone again, his feet stay flat and he looks a lot more realistic. But for now, we get this really nice, perfect grounded character. And then we can make him step where we want to or how we want to. And as long as we move the target bones, we can put his feet any way we want and the legs will follow suit. All right, and that's how we do target bones. Stay tuned for the next lesson, and thanks for watching.